All right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. Then in the video is Sowell exposes why men hate the Democrat Party. Not all men hate the Democrat Party, but it's growing, right? I mean, I think the Democrat Party hates us, to be honest. I think that's just kind of the starting point there, right? Uh, they hate us. But either way, let's see what this takes us, guys. Let's do it.
I think a part of the conundrum for Democrats is disintegration, this dislocation you've seen specifically among men, is something that Democrats haven't really figured out, Congresswoman, how to communicate, how to fix those numbers. I mean, Hispanic men, Donald Trump saw an increase of 20+%. Black men in states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Texas, he saw double increases, and we're seeing signs that those numbers are likely going to persist.
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm a Democrat, it's not enough to just be against Trump. It's not enough to also articulate what you're for, but it's articulate what you're for that is palatable to a lot of Americans out there, specifically men of color who Democrats are currently bleeding.
Okay. Look, I'm just going to tell you very quickly, we do get it. We're out there. We got a lot of young people out there working with them, and I'm not going to disagree. We lost all of them, but I think we've had a wake-up call, and we're working now to make sure we get it.
The Democratic Party's rhetoric and policies alienating male voters is a narrative that cuts to the heart of a persistent error in modern political thought, the assumption that human behavior can be engineered through rhetoric or moral posturing without regard for empirical realities. My work, from conflict of visions to discrimination and disparities in countless columns, has emphasized that outcomes are shaped by incentives, constraints, and the unyielding facts of human nature, not by the lofty intentions of policymakers or the volume of their pronouncements. The alienation of working class men from the Democratic Party is not a random phenomenon, but a predictable consequence of policies and rhetoric that ignore their material interests, cultural values, and lived experiences.
Absolutely.
Let me address this systematically, weaving together the economic, cultural, and ideological threads that explain this trend and its implications for society.
All right, let's go.
The notion that political strategists must entertain male voters rather than engage them with substantive policy is a revealing misstep. It assumes that men, particularly those in blue-collar trades, are swayed by spectacle rather than reason. This is not just condescending, it misunderstands the basic principles of human decision-making. As I've argued in Discrimination and Disparities, people respond to tangible incentives, job opportunities, wages, family stability, and to cultural signals that affirm their dignity.
Yeah, guys, and I tell you this right now: the Democrat Party has no belief, let's say, in affirming any type of dignity in regards to any type of men at all. It seems like every single thing that they try to do tries to push men as low as humanly possible. And if literally, honestly, guys, look at CNN, you'll start to realize that there are basically no men at all there. And if there is a man there, he's a very effeminate man, let's say that. Yes, is that man still a man? Yes, but he does not represent the masses of men who are masculine, right? And so if that's what you're attempting to push to the majority of men, why are you surprised that the majority of men do not want to follow a man that they don't even respect? Imagine, okay? That's the Democrat Party in 2025, guys. It's crazy. Like, the men that are like stuck, that are still there, let's say, large scale, most men don't respect them, bro. Most other men, let's say. Right? Either way.
Working-class men, whether welders, truck drivers, or carpenters, are not sitting around waiting for political theater. They evaluate policies based on how they affect their ability to pay bills.
Right. If it doesn't affect me,
support families, or maintain a sense of respect in their communities.
It's valid.
When political rhetoric prioritizes emotional appeals or identity-based sloganeering over, say, addressing the decline in manufacturing jobs, down from 19 million in 1979 to about 13 million today, per the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it sends a clear message. Their concerns are not a priority. The electoral shift in industrial regions, like the Rust Belt's pivot in recent decades, reflects this. Voters don't need entertainment. They need policies that deliver measurable improvements in their lives. This brings us to the reflex of attributing male voters' disaffection to sexism. This tactic is a hallmark of what I've called the unconstrained vision, the belief that human behavior can be reshaped by labeling dissent as moral failure. And a conflict of visions I contrast this with the constrained vision, which accepts that people act based on their circumstances and incentives, not abstract ideals. Accusing working class men of prejudice when they reject certain platforms dodges the real issue, the economic and cultural costs they bear. Consider tax policies or regulations that burden industries like construction or logistics, where men dominate. Real wages for non-college educated men have barely budged since the 1970s, while costs of living, housing, healthcare, education have soared. Meanwhile, policies like student debt relief or expanded social programs often target demographics perceived as more politically sympathetic, such as college-educated women. Data from the Census Bureau shows that only 30% of men aged 25 to 34 have a bachelor's degree, compared to nearly 40% of women. When men see their tax dollars funding initiatives that don't address their immediate needs, their skepticism isn't sexism. It's a rational response to being economically marginalized. Labeling it otherwise allows policymakers to evade accountability for outcomes that drive votes.
This this is scathing.
Posturing ties into a broader issue, the replacement of reasoned debate with what I've called moral exhibitionism. When empirical evidence, say wage stagnation or job losses in male-dominated industries, is inconvenient, the response is often to raise the volume or frame disagreement as ethical inferiority. In my columns, I've warned that this drowns out substantive discussion and alienates those who value facts over feelings. It's the working class men whose lives are grounded in practical realities, maintaining equipment, meeting deadlines, providing for families. See through this. The decline in union membership from 20% of the workforce in 1983 to under 10% today isn't just an economic trend, it's a cultural one. Unions once gave these men a voice. Now,
where they didn't have one.
Rhetoric often speaks past them, prioritizing abstract ideals like equity over concrete solutions like job training or infrastructure investment. The result is a growing distrust of institutions that seem more interested in signaling virtue than delivering results. Let's examine.
Yeah, that's it. That's what the Democrat Party is. Like a virtue signaling machine, right? Like if you, in fact, do not agree with this specific stance that we just made up from some like very minuscule niche group, right? That does not absolutely stand for the opinion of the masses, let's say, then you are in fact evil. I am morally superior to you and you are evil. How dare you not vote for the policies of this thing that I just made up in my head, right? Right? Oh yeah, you should back it wholeheartedly. Don't leave the Democrat Party, please. Let's consistently live off of nothing but raw emotion, and we'll win. Bro, you guys are going to keep losing. Okay? The reality of the scenario is that the Democrat Party is going to consistently lose until they kind of wrangle in the overly progressive nature of their party. Okay? That's the reality. Come back closer to the center. The right needs to do the exact same thing. Guys, we need to come right like this here. Right? In the direct center, and we can do a lot more, right? Internationally and nationally, if we can actually fix some of these small things that are definitely kind of dwelling on people's minds here.
Specific policy areas, starting with those that appear to favor college-educated women over blue-collar men.
Consistently.
Public policy, by its nature, creates trade-offs. Programs like debt forgiveness for higher education or expanded reproductive rights
right. What does that have to do with us?
Often framed as universal goods, but their benefits skew toward urban educated women who are more likely to hold degrees or prioritize such issues. Blue-collar men, less likely to attend college and often working in physically demanding trades, bear the tax burden for these initiatives without seeing direct benefits.
No
Discrimination
benefits.
and disparities, I emphasize that differences in outcomes often stem from differences in behavior, incentives, and starting points, not just discrimination. When policies reward one group's priorities while ignoring another's, resentment is inevitable. The political realignment we're seeing, working class voters shifting toward parties that at least acknowledge their concerns, is a textbook case of incentive shaping behavior. These men
yeah, guys, like, so what's interesting about this here is that a good amount of like people that have voted MAGA specifically, right? Not just like Republican, like, but MAGA Republican, right? A lot of these people were Bernie Sanders supporters. Just understand that specific thing. Like, I mean, all the studies and all the surveys that have come out, a good amount of people that voted specifically for Bernie Sanders, who is the literal exact opposite of Trump, is absolutely crazy. It's wild, right? And why did it happen? Right? Bernie was offering things to people that could actually help people. Right now, Trump comes in, and then this a gigantic shift in the Democrat Party. And some of those people were just honestly just angry at the Democrat Party for basically, you know, destroying Bernie's dream. I think that's kind of what I read somewhere. And so now you have all of these people that were once super progressive about 10 years ago. A good amount of them also voted for Obama. Understand Trump's current base. All right. It is full of, you know, massively affected people from the Democrat Party. They have no interest in partaking in this party or anything that they're pushing, basically, anymore under any circumstance. And this is what has led, people to obviously be leaving the Democrat Party in waves. That is one reason. Another reason is they just don't like men, bro. Okay, it's obvious.
Not rejecting progress. They're rejecting a system that seems to undervalue their contributions.
They don't value them all.
Policy offers another stark example. Large inflows of low-skill male immigrants into industries like construction, manufacturing, or trucking depress wages and job prospects for native-born workers.
Valid.
Economic research, such as studies by George Borjas, shows that a 10% increase in the immigrant share of the labor force can reduce wages for low-skilled native workers by 3 to 4%. This isn't a judgment on the morality of immigration. It's a fact about supply and demand in labor markets. In Wealth, Poverty, and Politics, I argue that good intentions don't negate economic consequences. When policymakers ignore how immigration affects working class men's earning power, they're effectively dismissing those men's struggles. The cultural narrative that their concerns are xenophobic rather than economic only deepens the alienation. These men aren't abstractly anti-immigrant. They're responding to real declines in their standard of living, as evidenced by wage trends in industries like construction, where real earnings have stagnated for decades. The welfare policy further complicates the picture. Generous entitlement programs, food assistance, housing subsidies, health care, can unintentionally weaken family structures by making single-parent households more economically feasible.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the link in the description here, guys, if you guys want to finish the video out here. Listen, so I've heard of Thomas Sowell a couple of times here. You guys have sent me a couple of videos, and he's generally kind of hit or miss with me. But this one here, perfect. No complaints here, bro. Like you understand what's happening without the fluff of unnecessary emotion, bro. Just go ahead and give me the facts. I don't want to have to beat around the bush, bro. You did that. He did that beautifully here. Towards the end here, yeah, that's exactly it. I have absolutely campaigned, let's say, against the concept of government daddy. You're wondering why there are so many kids being raised in single mother households. What's the rate of What's the percentage of people that are in prison that come from specifically single mother households, right? Like without the father in the household, you have a problem here, guys, okay? And then obviously, there are some people who are just legitimately choosing to get government assistance, having as many babies by as many men as humanly possible, so they can basically get as much as they possibly can from the government, while there are people that are working, actually working, seeing all these things happen on TikTok where people are basically bragging about how the government gave them, I don't know, $5,000 in food stamps this month. Welfare gave them some more money. There was like the super famous woman on TikTok, like the welfare, guys, go to TikTok and search for welfare queen. She's just going to pop up, bro. All right, you'll find her, okay? And she is bragging about all these fancy cars she's driving. And it's like, bro, there are people that are working that are making a lot of money who have no glimpse of a health insurance or any type of things like that, guys. That's real, right? They're not getting any help from the government. In fact, they're paying a gigantic amount of money in taxes to the government for you to brag about it on the internet. You're confused why people are not happy? Bro, get rid of these programs, okay? Like I would say blatantly, you find an area with a zip code in the United States of America, okay, where you realize that over 50% of the people are basically utilizing government assistance for any type of way, cut it. Cut it. Cut it right now. Okay, or put some type of caveat on it where they actually have to go out and do something beneficial, and obviously cut it down tremendously, because no one should be living comfortable off the government, guys. That should not be a thing here. Okay, it should be bare minimum per person if that's the case here. Now, obviously, there are certain circumstances when it comes to like disabilities, someone who's handicapped, etc. And I mean like a real disability, guys. Wait, a moth. Got to be lights on. But either way, the thing is, real disabilities only. All right, get checked by a couple of doctors, let's say, right, and make sure that the person is not faking the funk here, basically. But all right, guys, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. If you want to check out any more of his videos, just let me know in the comments. I'll get to that as soon as I possibly can. All right, I'll catch you guys later.